evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Isabelle Castellain. I'm the CEO of TheMerode, and I'm very, very happy to see you all here. I'm happy because it's been a long time. We closed during summer. It's our first big event where we meet again, and so thank you for coming. And then the second reason why I'm really, really happy to be here is because I am so, so happy to welcome Mr. Satish Kumar, who does the honor to come. He already had a really big day, and he's still here with all his energy. And I'm really happy that you could make it. And I want to share with the members how we met, because we met in Bilbao. You have to know that during this month of June, there was a well-being summit in Bilbao where I was. And I was like you in a room listening to Satish. And when it was finished, it was a break, and so we all went out, and I was on the street, and I saw you, and I ran behind him, and I thought, he's going to think I'm crazy, but anyway, I ran, and suddenly I was walking next to Mr. Kumar, and I said, you know, I have a social club in Brussels, and it would be so great if you would come, and still, he wasn't thinking I was crazy. He was still being very nice, shook my hand. And so I knew, and I saw that you were quite in a hurry because you had to take transportation. And I gave him my card, and I said, it would be really, really cool if you could come. And he said, I will write you. And then most of the time when people say that, you have 10% chance they will write you. Well, you wrote me, and it was the second, well, I think it was the day after, and it was, dear Isabelle, I was really happy to meet you on the street. I was like, okay. And you said, let's make this work. And here you are. So it's amazing, because you are this amazing person. You inspire so many people, and still you are still this normal person who writes mail when you say you write a mail. So thank you very much. I'm sure you will all have the same wow feeling once this keynote is finished. And I'm so happy that we can share this together, because this is what we are all about. You know that TheMerode wants to bring knowledge, and we talked about it just earlier. We want to bring knowledge to our members, and we want to create real relations. And if one person on this planet is these two things, knowledge and human relation, then it's you, Satish. So thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I will welcome Séverine. Séverine is one of our new colleagues at TheMerode, and she will be in charge of our program. And one of the first things that she arranged was Satish Kumar coming to TheMerode. So she will help us to have this extraordinary program for our members. I will leave you now to have this chat with Satish, and thank you again. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special evening, and because it's special, we will start it with a short meditation.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank Isabelle for such a wonderful welcome and such nice, kind words. Thank you very much. And it was a great pleasure when we met in the street. I mean, just somehow I felt that this is a very genuine and very nice invitation. There was a kind of feeling. And it is. I was not expecting such a beautiful and such a kind of palatial club. And so it's a kind of nice surprise. So thank you for your invitation. A short meditation. Meditation word comes from the same root in Latin as medicine. So when you need some sustenance for your body, you take medicine. But when you need some sustenance for your mind, for your soul, for your spirit, for your heart, for your relationship, you take meditation. meditation is to connect. So first, right hand represents the world. Left hand represents the self. So let's bring our both palms together and unite the world with the self. We are all united. We are all related. We are all connected. And then put your hands back. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your body. Posture, relaxed, shoulders down. Then bring your attention to your breath. Breathe in, and then gently breathe out. Smile, relax, and let go. Let go of any expectations. Let go of any worries. Let go of any anxieties. Then breathe in and breathe out. Smile. Relax. Relax your face, relax your body. And then let go. Let go of any tension, any burden on your shoulders. And just breathe in and say how breath is light. I can be light. How breath is moving, flowing. I can be moving and flowing. I am breath. So the qualities of breath. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. Let go of any separation. Let go of any ego. Let go of control. And be like the air, light, flowing, sustaining all life without any discrimination, without any judgment, going beyond right and wrong, beyond good and bad, treating all living beings with equality and equanimity. So we focus on the qualities of breath and bring those qualities in our own lives. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. We really don't need to introduce you anymore, but for those in the room who might not know you, I will introduce you in a few words. A world-renowned author and international speaker, peace pilgrim, lifelong activist, a former monk, you have been inspiring global change for over 50 years. Aged 9, you renounced the world and became a wandering Jain monk. Then, in your 20s, You undertook a pilgrimage for peace, working for 2 years, 2.5 years to be precise, without money from India to America for the cause of nuclear disarmament. Now, in your 80s, you have devoted your life to campaigning for ecological regeneration, social justice, and spiritual fulfillment. Let me start with this question. Is there a specific event in your life that you feel changed your perspective and perhaps triggered your journey and influenced who you are today?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. There have been many turning points in my life. The first turning point was, as you said, when I was 4 years old and my father died. And I couldn't understand why my father is not moving and not talking, and why my mother is crying, my sisters are crying. So that was a big memory I still have, my father's death. And that led me to become a monk. For 4 or 5 years, I was searching for an answer. Is there a way to stop death? And I met some Jain monks, and they said, in order to bring an end to the cycle of birth and death, you have to renounce the world and become a monk. And I said, I will do anything to stop people dying. That was a big turning point. I became a monk. And for 9 years, I was away from my home. I was away from my mother. I was walking bare feet with a begging bowl in my hand. And when I was 18, I had another great turning point. One night, Mahatma Gandhi came to me in my dream. He was standing on a sand dune hill, like a halo on his back behind. And I was below the sand dune. And he said to me, how many people can become monks? Only very few. Spirituality should be for everybody. Why spirituality should be only exclusively for the monks? So practice spirituality in the world, practice spirituality in everyday life. That was quite a staggering dream, very vivid. Actually, I can still remember that dream, even though it was such a long time ago. And I woke up, and I was really shaken. I said, Gandhi's right. How many people can practice spirituality and become monks? So I have to live in the world and transform everyday life, and everybody can do it in such a way by changing my motivation, by changing my intention. And what Gandhi, I read later, Gandhi said, if you do anything in your life, whether you are doing business or politics or farming or teaching or doctor, nursing, whatever you are doing, if you do it with love, that's spiritual. Even farming is spiritual practice if you do it with love. Even politics is spiritual if you do it with love. I was quite amazed. How you transform the world, everything, by changing your intention. So that was another great turning point. But once you become a monk, you are a monk forever, for whole life. You are not allowed to leave the monastic order. Now what I do? What do I do now? I had a turmoil. I could not stay in the monastery. So one night, after midnight, with everybody asleep, I escaped. So those were the two, I would say, in my childhood, great turning point.
You really escape.
Yeah, I escaped.
How did you escape?
I escaped after midnight when everybody's asleep. And I had somebody who I knew who was a bit friendly with me, so arranged for me to have a ticket. So I took a train at midnight. I was in Rajasthan, in India, in a small station, small town, and I took a train to Delhi. But some unfortunate position, the station master recognized, and he told the order, even that night. And so the people from my village, where I escaped from, told the people in Delhi, where I was arriving. And as I arrived on the station, line of Jain followers waiting. And they said, you can't leave monastic order. You committed for whole life. They took me to their place, held me there for 3-4 days. I said, whatever you do, I'm not going to go back into monastery. In the end, I mean, you have to read my book. I've written a book called No Destination in English. In the end, I found a refuge in a Gandhian community. And there, I tried to learn, to practice spirituality, love, compassion, kindness in agriculture, in handicrafts, in study, in living. So that's how I escaped.
Very impressive. What tips do you have for us? What tips do you have for us to live a joyful life?
A joyful life.
Yes.
Joy comes from contentment and gratitude. Please remember these two words. First of all, contentment. You have to start thinking that I have everything. I'm a gift from the universe. I am good. You have to love yourself. To be contented, you have to love yourself. People start to love others, of course, which is very good. I agree with that. But I would say you have to even love yourself. And be contented with yourself. You have eyes and hands and ears and imagination and creativity and love in your heart. You have everything. You are a gift from the universe. Value yourself. And then how much we have received from our ancestors. Culture, music, art. So much received. Religion, philosophy. We have to feel that we have enough. And even, you can say, if you compare with other people in the world, you have a home, you have a husband, you have a wife, you have children, you have mother, you have father, you have brother, you have a club like this. What more do you want? Why are you not joyful? So I am very joyful. I've lived 86, I'm 86 years old. And I feel joyful because I'm contented. Everything I need, I have. I have 2 hands. Can you imagine having a gift of 2 hands? I can build a house. I can make pottery. I can write a book. I can paint a picture. These 2 hands are a great gift to me. So contentment. I have plenty. I have everything. I have enough. I'm happy. That's the first. to be joyful. Second, it's a kind of next step. The moment you say, I have enough, I'm also grateful. Gratitude is the highest and greatest quality, spiritual quality that one can learn. Even I'm grateful to a child. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to this glass of water. All the gifts that we receive, we take it for granted. And we only focus on what we don't have. And if you focus on what you don't have, you will never be joyful. You can have €1,000,000, but you will think, but I don't have 2,000,000. You can have a big house, but you can say, I have a house only in Brussels, but not in Paris. But if you focus on what you don't have, you cannot have joy. But if you focus on what you have, you can have a joy, contentment and gratitude. So, if you want to be happy, if you want to be joyful, just remember these two words: contentment and grateful. What a beautiful life we all have. And we are always complaining. We are always criticizing ourselves, criticizing our family, criticizing our husband or wife or children or home, always criticizing. This is not good enough. That is not good enough. If you have one criticism, balance it with two appreciation. Balance it. Only criticism is like a pair of scissors. Cut, 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 cut. If you want to make a shirt, if you have only a pair of scissors, it will not make a nice shirt. But you need longer time to use a needle and a thread. A needle and thread is the appreciation. Appreciate your wife, appreciate your husband, appreciate your boyfriend, appreciate your girlfriend, appreciate your food, appreciate literature, poetry, art, music, architecture, weather, anything. The moment you appreciate rather than criticize, you are grateful. Gratitude comes from appreciation. So contentment and gratitude, these are the two words for joy.
And that's how we become the CEO of our own life. That's what you're saying, the CEO. Each of us, we need to be the chief of our own life.
Each of us need to
be the CEO.
CEO of our life. That's right.
CEO of your
That's
life.
right. Yeah, yeah. So I am making an appointment today. All of you are appointed the CEO of your lives. And I don't need to interview you. I don't need to look at your CV. I don't need to look at your qualification. Because who else can be CEO of your life? And why should anybody else be a CEO for your life? And why should you allow anybody to be CEO of your life? So I want to be in charge of my life. And when I'm in charge of my life, I'm capable of doing anything I want. The potential of every human being is enormous, unlimited. Unlimited. An artist is not a special kind of person, but every person is a special kind of artist. So we are all artists. We are all Marguerite. We can all paint our own art. Art of living, art of making, art of cooking, art of loving, art of gardening, art of friendship. These arts are even more important than Picasso and Beethoven and Bach and Shakespeare. So art of living, we have to live like an artist. And who can be in charge of you and I being the artists of our lives? Ourselves. Our happiness, our joy, our fulfillment, our success does not depend on anyone else. It totally depends on yourself. I have been given everything I need. I don't have to go to a big supermarket to buy imagination. I don't have to go anywhere to get anything that I need. I've been given everything. And society is there to help me. So I would say that in order to find joy, happiness, creativity, imagination, be the CEO of your own life. And then once you are CEO of your life, then your life is in the service of humanity, in the service of other people. Because I have been given so much by the society. My body is given to me by my parents. Now it's my turn to help my parents. My knowledge has been given to me by my teachers, by my society. So it's my turn to give something back. So if you are a teacher, you are a doctor, you are a professor, you are an architect, you are a gardener, you are a farmer, whatever you are giving something back to society. Because we have received so much. And what we have received is much greater than whatever we are going to give. Because we have received from millions of people, from cultures, from Aboriginal cultures and indigenous cultures and Chinese cultures and Taoist cultures and Buddhist cultures and Indian cultures and Kalahari or Bushman cultures and African cultures. How much we have received? European cultures, of course. How much we have received. What we are going to give is small. Why I have to be mean and not give back? So I'm in the service of humanity. I'm in the service of planet Earth. We have to look after our planet Earth. Our air comes from the planet. Our water comes from the planet. The fire, the sun, and the fire come from the planet. The earth, the soil, the food. My body is the soil transformed into my body. The word human comes from Latin humus. And humus means soil. So human beings are literally soil beings. Can you imagine what a beautiful word it is? Adam, also Adama, that's also soil. And so we have received so much from the planet. So we have to keep the air clean. We have to keep our water clean, the rivers clean, the oceans clean, without plastic, without sewage. We have to keep our soil clean. That's my service to the planet. Because the soil is giving me, water is giving me, air is giving me, fire is giving me my life. Without any judgment, without any discrimination. So I being in the service of humanity, I being in the service of planet Earth, is my pleasure. It's not a duty. It's my pleasure. It's my honor. It's my joy. That's how I see life.
What is, according to you, the most challenging, the most pressing challenge of our time?
Most challenging and pressing problem of our time, I mean, everybody knows that we are facing a big climate change problem. This is well known. But climate change is only a symptom of the problem. The biggest problem, which is subtle, is our attitude. Our attitude to life, our attitude to society, and our attitude to our planet Earth. First problem is our attitude towards nature. When we think about nature, we think those rivers and forests and mountains and animals and birds, all that. And we think in our attitude that nature is only a resource for the economy. The value of nature is diminished as only a resource for the economy. Now, I think this is a big problem. We need to change this attitude. The climate change is happening because we have misused and used nature as a resource for the economy. So we need to change this attitude. Solution to this big problem is look at nature not as a resource for the economy, but as a source of life itself. Simple. Not a big rocket science. Nature is the source of life itself. Actually, humans and nature are one. Nature is not only just there, out in the forest. Beautiful forest you have in Brussels, I went through this morning. But we are nature. The moment we realize our true nature, that we are nature, we are earth, we are air, we are fire, we are water, we are consciousness, solution comes. That's for me biggest problem. Separation of humans and nature. I want solution that we say we are nature, and what we do to nature out there, we do to ourselves. So taking care of nature is taking care of ourselves. It's our interest, self-interest, enlightened self-interest to look after nature so that we can be healthy and happy and good water, good air, good soil, good food, everything good. Second, not only our business and economy looks at nature as a resource, even humans have become a resource. You say in your French, maybe, ressource humaine. What do you say? Resource humaine?
Ressources humaines.
Yeah. In English, we say human resource. Now, humans are not a resource for the economy. Economy should be the resource for human well-being. This is what in Bilbao, when I met Isabel, we talked about. That well-being of humanity and dignity of human life and well-being of planet Earth should be the goal of the economy. And production, consumption, and economic growth, all these should be the means. So that's the second problem, that we are looking at humans as a resource, and therefore we hire and fire when humans are not useful, they are redundant. Humans are never redundant. Human dignity. What is more important than human dignity, human relationship? This club has a motto of knowledge and relationship. Wonderful motto, I like it. So put humans and nature before money and production and consumption and everything else and economic growth. Then economic growth has a place. I'm not against economic growth. I'm not against production and consumption. I use clothes, I'm using microphone, I'm using everything. But what is more important? Economics for people and planet, or people and planet for the economics? At the moment, people are suffering, planet is suffering, climate change, this is our biggest problem of our time, and pollution, and waste, and social injustice, and many other problems. They are happening because we have forgotten the human relationship and natural relationship is of paramount importance. So that's the biggest problem, our attitude to nature and to humans. And that problem is causing a bigger problem, or biggest problem, of climate change.
And what gives you hope?
What's my hope? I'm a hopeful person. I'm an optimist, because I'm an activist. And to be an activist, you have to be an optimist. Otherwise, you give up. If you are a pessimist, you can be a journalist. So what is my hope? My hope, first of all, young people. I was today with Adele. You must have heard of her.
Adélaïde.
Huh?
Adélaïde?
Adele, yeah. And she's my hope. Greta Thunberg is my hope. I saw a film yesterday, 7 young boys and girls around the world, in Ghana, in Brazil, in Indonesia, in America, in Europe. A film about 7 people. It's called Bigger Than Us. Film is called The Bigger Than Us. You can look at YouTube, I think. Bigger
You
Than
can
Us.
come and you can come and see it here. We will have it here soon.
Yeah, oh, good.
So, yes.
So those young people are my hope. Also, I think all the problems we have today are human-made. They are not God-given. What is made by humans can be changed by humans. And I have hope and faith in humanity. So I think humanity will rise to the challenge and will be able to address the challenge and the problem of our attitude, and we can transform our consciousness. We can transform our attitude and intention. And we can live on this planet Earth joyfully, happily, prosperously. There is no shortage of anything in nature. Nature is abundant. I have an apple orchard in England, in Devon. I live in Devon, in England. 15 apple trees. I planted those apple trees. I planted one little seed in the ground 25 years ago. Just little one seed. Can you imagine that little pip you cannot eat? You throw it away from your mouth because it's too bitter. That seed I planted in the soil. And for last 10 years, I have been taking apples, thousands and thousands and thousands of apples. I make 150 bottles of apple juice every year. Fresh, artisan apple juice. Nature is abundant. We don't need to feel mean. We don't need to feel worried. Nature is abundant. As long as nature is replenished, cyclical. Our economy is linear. We take from nature, use it, throw it away on the landfill. That is not nature. Then nature is not unlimited. If we waste and pollute, nature is not unlimited. Things will run out. But nature itself is regenerative. It's a cyclical. These apples which grow and they fall and they become compost and become soil. The tree leaves, in the autumn they fall, they become soil again, and they give food to the roots. So if we can create a cyclical economy, a circular economy, where whatever you take from nature, use it and put it back in nature, then nature is abundant. This is the nature of nature. Never come to an end because it recycles, cyclical, circular. There's no end. But if you make linear, beginning and ending. So move away from the linear economy to circular and cyclical economy. Nature is abundant. You don't need to worry about anything. For millions of years, the economy of nature will last for millions of years. But this linear economy will not last forever. And we want economy of nature so that it can last for millions of years. Because our future generations need to live prosperously as we live. Prosperity is not only for us. Prosperity for us as well as for our future generations, our children and grandchildren and great-great-great-great-grandchildren. How are we going to leave this planet Earth intact and beautiful and prosperous for our grandchildren? Only by making economy circular. No waste, no pollution, everything comes from nature, goes back to nature. No problem.
Thank you. I would like now to invite the audience because I'm sure they also have a lot of questions for you.
Yes. Who would like to ask? Here's a question there, microphone, and the question there. Please, yeah. And the question.
Hi.
Yeah.
My name is Isabel. I was wondering for you, what does it mean, the word education?
Education.
Yeah.
Education is my very dear subject. I started a school called the Small School in Devon. And then I started a college called Schumacher College. Schumacher was an economist, E.F. Schumacher, who wrote a book called Small is Beautiful. And I started a college called Schumacher College. Now, at the moment in our educational system, what we have is people going to school or university, they are looked at by the professors and lecturers and establishment of university as if young people have no body. They have no hands, they have no heart, they have no legs, they have only brain, only head. And only half brain, because we have two hemispheres of the brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. The left hemisphere is the brain of science and technology and mathematics and logic and rationality and all that, measured. The left hemisphere of the brain is more intuition, imagination, creativity, all that, arts, music, all that. Most of our universities train the left brain. So my desire was that I want to change that. So I created this college called Schumacher College where students have education of head, education of hearts, and education of hands. So all our students participate in cooking, gardening, cleaning, washing up, building, as well as science, economics, design, other things. And they're also heart. As we started meditation here, every morning, half an hour meditation. So if we can bring our schools and universities into such a way that students have opportunity to cook and be a community of students. When I started school, the very first day, I said to our children, how this school is going to be different from any other school. And I said, in this school, we are going to cook our lunch. We have a kitchen. And teachers and children will take a rota and cook together. And then say prayer and grace and eat together. And then teachers and children together do washing up. And when you are doing cooking, you are not missing any lesson. Cooking is the greatest lesson. Every person should learn how to cook because you all need to eat. If you don't know cooking well, that's not very good. Same with the Schumacher College. I cook, all our teachers cook, all our students cook. So education of head, education of heart, education of hand, and head both sides, both brains. The rational brain and the intuitive brain. We need a rational brain, but we also need intuition and imagination. So we need a big change in our educational system. Education is not only like a job factory where you are training young people to get a job after the university education. University should be a place to find your meaning of your life and learning skills. How I can use my hands, how can I learn to build a house or grow food or make something or whatever you are going to make. You are not a consumer. After you have graduated from your university, you are a maker. And at the moment, our education system is producing consumers. Go and buy food, go and buy clothes, go and buy in shopping malls, everything buy, consumer. I want education to be turning our young people to be makers, be artists, be craftsmen and women. That's the kind of educational dream I have. I can give a whole evening on education, but this will do. The question there? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Satish. It was fantastic. So thank you for everything. I have listened to you a few times, and every time I'm more in love with you. So thank you for your love.
Thank you.
My question is, I have heard you speaking about elegant simplicity, and I would like you to explain what it is and where this idea is coming from.
Yes. Elegant Simplicity is my book in English, and it's also in French. You can get in French, also in Dutch. So those who speak Flemish can read Dutch. It's in Dutch, also in Czech, in Spanish, in Portuguese, many languages. Elegant simplicity. I want life not to be complicated. Any fool can make things complicated. It requires a genius to make things simple. So elegant simplicity is to think simply and straightforwardly, spiritual simplicity, intellectual simplicity. I mean, like many of our academics in education we talked about, jargon, so difficult, complicated language that nobody can understand, and hundreds of footnotes and hundreds of jargon words. I want them to communicate simply. So there are 3 words for elegant simplicity that I would like you to remember. First, things should be beautiful. Elegant simplicity requires beauty. Beauty is the food for the soul. And also it looks good. But beauty is more than looks. Beauty is harmony, balance, proportion, all many other good things. So remember to have whatever you have, your thoughts, your possessions, your clothes, your shoes, your furniture, your house should be beautiful. Have nothing in your house which is not beautiful. That's the first principle of elegant simplicity. Second principle is, whatever you have beautiful should also be useful. It's not just a decoration, not to just put in a cupboard to look at, but also use. Use your beautiful pottery. Use your beautiful clothes. Use your beautiful furniture. Use. If you don't use things, then just kind of making. So beautiful and useful. But the third principle of elegant simplicity is should be durable, sustainable. Not you buy today, one season, and throw it away on the rubbish bin. And next, you buy another new one. Every season, new fashion. You have a built-in obsolescence. You buy some machine, lasts for 1 or 2 years, then you buy a new one. Buy a computer, telephone, a few years, throw away. Buy a new one. There are 34 billion screens in the world today. And every time, new. So elegant simplicity requires durability. So there are 3 words: beautiful, useful, durable. There's an acronym for it, BUD. B-U-D, BUD. Beautiful, B, useful, U, durable, D. B-U-D, BUD. So you have a test, a kind of like a, what do you call, touchstone. Anything, test on it. Is it BUD? If it's not BUD, it's not for me. It's not elegant simplicity. To be elegantly simple has to be beautiful, useful, durable. Then you will have a good life. Yes.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Kumar. It's such a pleasure to be here in front of you, and thank you for your presence today. My question is about women. And,
women?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think will be the role of women in the deep change we are called to make in our attitude?
In your attitude?
In our attitude, like you mentioned before.
Yes. I think women have a much more developed right brain, much more balanced. They are more intuitive. They have much more feeling. They are more receptive. So I think, and also those women, but also feminine principle. And I'm more, 'cause as a man, I would like to embrace more feminine principles in my life and be more intuitive and more receptive and more holistic. And also, I honor women as mothers. Of course, fathers have a very important role to play. And I'm a father, I have 2 children. But women play a greater role. They carry the child in their womb and give birth, which is a life and death experience. They feed with their own body. Of course, fathers have a responsibility and very important. Children need father figure as well. But the mother's role is very vital. And therefore, every mother is a hero. Can you imagine the importance of motherhood? Every mother is a hero. And so I think we need to revere and respect the motherhood, but also have feminine principle in our lives, men and women both. We both need to learn and cultivate the feminine and the masculine qualities. The feminine quality in Indian tradition, we say, is receptivity. And masculine quality is expressiveness. So in our body, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So receptivity should be double. And expressiveness should be single. So my formula for this is, like water is H2O, this formula is F2M. 2 part feminine, 1 part masculine. F2M. This is my formula. So place of women, I mean, in our history and tradition, we have suppressed the womanhood. And we have taken motherhood for granted and not given the respect and the place which women need. But it is changing, I'm pleased to say. I first read a wonderful book by a French woman writer called Simone de Beauvoir. It was a very great book in the 60s. And in those days, I was growing up. And I read that book, that opened my eyes. It was called The Second Sex. But at that time, the place of women was much less respected and recognized. So in last 40, 50 years, things have changed and improved for the better. But we are still a long way to go. We are not there yet. So we men need to be aware of that, be conscious of that, and say we need to respect and recognize the place of women and their intuition and their receptivity and their feminine qualities. And also women need to cultivate certain masculine qualities of expressiveness, because sometimes women are kept behind because they don't speak, they don't express, they don't articulate, they don't assert themselves. So then they are held back. So women need to cultivate a little bit of, keep your double F2, keep double, but also cultivate your expressiveness so that you are able to speak for your place in the world. So if we have F2M, that balance, I think then women's place will be very important in our society.
Hello, my name is Antoine. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Since you mentioned that you're an optimistic person, I'm curious to know, what do you think of global peace and politics these days?
Politics?
Yeah, and global peace.
I'm a peace activist. And as I said, or you said, that I walked from New Delhi to Moscow, and then to Paris, then to London, then to Washington. Of course, I took boat wherever there was a water. But From New Delhi to Paris, there's no water. All the way I could walk without any boat. Only boat I had to take was between Dover and Calais, and then from Southampton to New York. But then from New York, I walked to Washington. And one great thing happened was I was very privileged and honored that at the end of my journey, I met a very great peacemaker, Martin Luther King. That was a great honor. So peace is very close to my heart. And I think any war and military preparations are based in fear and lack of trust. So I had to show the world that I can trust on a small way. So I decided to walk without any money. For 2.5 years, I did not touch money. And I went through 15 countries, Muslim countries, Christian countries, communist countries, capitalist countries, rich countries, poor countries, deserts, mountains, snow, rain, forest, everything. And I survived. Trust. So if you want to make peace in the world, and politics, peace and politics both, you need trust. We need to cultivate trust in our society. You have to trust people. Whatever your religion, you are still human. Whatever your nationality, our newspapers create a lot of mistrust. China, be afraid. Russia, be afraid. Muslims, be afraid. Be just afraid. Fear, fear, fear. I rather be cheated once in a while than live in fear all the time. That's a peace. Peacemaking requires a big heart and a spirit of compromise. There's always common interest. There's always common ground if you are prepared to compromise. And compromise is not a bad word. Compromise is a very good word. Com means together. And promising together. What's wrong with promising together? You and I sit down together, I hear you, you hear me, and then we come to a conclusion and say, okay, we promise together to live in harmony with each other. What's wrong with that? So promise should be brought back into good reputation. And making promise together, compromise together, whatever you are. For example, in Ukraine. Of course, our Western media will tell you it's a Putin, it's the Russians, Putin's war. They don't listen, they are warmongers. They all talk about war, war, war. And then if you go to Russia, they will tell you it's the West. They are encircling us with NATO. They are spending so much money. They went to war in Libya. They went to war in Afghanistan. They went to war in Iraq. They went to war in Vietnam. They are bad. They are bad. So both parties are telling each other that the other side is bad. And we are all bad and all good. All humans are humans. Good and bad, good and evil go through every human heart. Nobody is perfect. Russians are not perfect, Americans are not perfect, Chinese are not perfect, Indians are not perfect, I am not perfect. Who is perfect? So, in order to make peace, you have to live with imperfection. And you have to live with people as they are. And say, all right, you are Muslim, you are Christian, you are Russian, you are Chinese, we will live with you. Let's find a common ground. So that is the way to make good politics and good peace. And when I walked, I was given by 2 Georgian women by the Black Sea 4 packets of tea. And they said to me that please give 1 packet to our premier in the Kremlin, the 2nd packet to the president of France in Paris, the 3rd packet to the prime minister of UK, and the 4th packet of peace tea to the President of the United States of America. And please give a message from me. What is your message? My message to these world leaders of nuclear weapons is, if you ever get a mad thought of pressing the nuclear button, please stop for a moment and have a fresh cup of tea. That is the way to make peace. Have a fresh cup of tea. And she said, every cup of tea is a cup of peace. Drink together, even with your enemies. Drink together. Weapons are very expensive. You have spent billions and billions and billions. If you put the American Pentagon budget, you know how big it is? You can put the entire world's military budget together. Russian, Chinese, Indian, African, European, all the military budget together, and Pentagon's budget on one side. Pentagon's budget is bigger. Why are you spending so much money on weapons? In America, people are poor. In America, people are homeless. The richest country in the world, #1 economy in the world, and yet there are poor people, homeless people, hungry people, uneducated people. Spend your money on people rather than all this hardware. War is very expensive and destructive. Just imagine in Ukraine, millions of people refugees, children without schools, sick people without hospitals, old people without homes. What are we getting out of war? Just ego. Ego of Putin, ego of President of Ukraine, ego of our Western leaders. I think we have to be humble to make peace, humility, and Putin doesn't suffer, he's sitting in the Kremlin. Biden doesn't suffer, he's in the White House. But ordinary people in the street of the towns and cities of Ukraine, or Afghanistan, or Iraq, or Vietnam, or Libya, or wherever it is, Yemen, wherever there's a war, it's ordinary people suffer. And those who make weapons and produce weapons and sell weapons and hoard weapons, they don't suffer. So peace is cheaper, more comfortable, more enjoyable, and more happy. Why are we waging wars? So let's have a new politics of peace. And I'm a peacemaker. I don't take sides. I say it takes two to tango. If you want to make peace, it takes two. If you make war, it takes two. Sit down together, find a common ground, compromise, nobody's perfect, live in imperfection, and make peace.
Thank you very much. We have time for one last question. Yes?
There's one question there. Can you give that question there?
Mr. Kumar, my name is Alexandre. Thank you so much. I mean, this was just so inspiring. You started by talking about spirituality, saying that spirituality is putting love in every aspect of your life. Can you tell us more about what is living a spiritual life? Why do you think living a spiritual life is so important, and is spirituality can actually save
yes.
our society?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, I want to make it clear that when I talk about spirituality, I don't mean various religious traditions. I don't mean institutionalized, organized, labeled religions. Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Judaism, whatever, Islam, whatever. I mean the spirit. Spirituality is this human spirit. Now, we are made of human body and human spirit. And we look after our body every day. We feed it for breakfast, we feed it for lunch, we feed it for dinner, we bathe it, we warm it, we clothe it, we build houses for it. We do everything for the body. But you are not only body. You are body and spirit. You are consciousness. You have a heart, you have a soul, you have mind, you have a spirit. So anything which is non-physical or metaphysical is spirit. And we are made of body and spirit. Human spirit. Everybody knows human spirit. But how much time are you spending to enhance, to cultivate, to look after your human spirit? So we need to spend some time every day to cultivate our spirit, strengthen our spirit. Like you exercise your body to strengthen your body. You go for a walk to strengthen your legs and strengthen your body. In the same way, you practice certain rituals, certain practices every day to strengthen your spirit, to resolve, make strong resolve in your spirit. This is why I started this evening session with short meditation. That's a kind of spiritual practice. And the spirit word comes with breathing as well. So breath, inspirare, to breathe in, expirare, to breathe out. And when you stop breathing, you are expired. So breath. And breathing you cannot measure. It's not physical. You cannot quantify. You cannot put in a box. It's free. So free spirit is a human spirit. So we all need to take some time. And what is that spirit for which we take time? What is that spirit? Spirit is relationship. Through our breath, we are all related. All of us are breathing the same air. You might be young, old, black, white, young, woman, man, child, whoever you are. We are all breathing the same air. So we are linked. We are united. We are connected through our breath. So spirituality means relationship. All the words of spirituality are concerned with relationship. Love. You have to love somebody. It's a relationship. Kindness, compassion. You have to have compassion for somebody, or something, or some animals, or some trees, other. So spirituality is about healthy, strong, kind, compassionate relationship. And we are all related. This is the most fundamental truth. Everything is related. Even this glass and the table are related. Even this table and the floor is related. Even this microphone and my hands are related. The existence is all about relationship. And so we need to spend some time in focusing, understanding, celebrating, enhancing our relationships with each other. That's spirituality. The moment you have a kind of good relationship, and that's why all these words, kind, compassionate, generous, loving, all these words come in relationship. Where good relationship, that's just spiritual. Good relationship with nature, good relationship with trees, good relationship with animals, good relationship with your friends and family, good relationship with yourself. So spirituality is about good relationship, human relationship. This is the motto of this club. This is why I come to speak here. Human relationship. And at the moment, there's a lack of spirituality because we have become so materialistic. We think only what matters is what can be measured, what can be quantified, what can be bought, what can be sold, what can be consumed. Otherwise, nothing exists. This is why we become materialism. But matter cannot exist without the spirit. And spirit cannot exist without the matter. This body cannot exist without the spirit. It's a dead body. But spirit cannot exist without this body either. Where is the spirit? There's no spirit cannot exist without body. So body and spirit are in coexistence, together, inseparable. But in our modern education, modern science, modern kind of rationalism and modern kind of way of kind of civilization, we have lost this sense of spirituality. And we think only thing what exists is buy, spend, consume, build, house, this, money, etc., etc. And therefore, we are lacking in relationship. We are lacking in peace. We are lacking in harmony. We have problems with climate change. We have problems of war. We have problems of poverty. We have problems of injustice because we are lacking this human spirit. So spirituality is essential part of our existence. We need to cultivate our spirit, our soul, our relationships. Spirituality is nothing but good relationship with everything, including with yourself, including with your trees, including with your dog and cat, including with your neighbors. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's all about relationship. So spirituality is not a dogma. Spirituality is not in the books. Spirituality is not in the church or temple or mosque. Spirituality is not in gurus or anybody else. Spirituality is in your heart, within yourself. Just cultivate that and have a good relationship with every human being and good relationship with every living being. The moment you have that good relationship with all living beings, you are loving, you are kind, you are compassionate, you are generous, you are beautiful. You are happy, you are joyful. So spirituality is not to be confused or mistaken by any dogma or any book or any temple or church or kind of belief system. These are only theology. Theology is not spirituality. Theology is like a philosophy. Spirituality is about good relationship. Okay? Thank you.